So, for a few minutes, I wanted to talk about heart opening and what that means to be more loving. I have talked about the map of consciousness a few times, presented many years ago by Dr. David R. Hawkins, the levels of consciousness between 0 and 1,000, where, the 1,000 is the level of our avatars, Jesus, Krishna, Buddha, and near zero is very unconscious beings. I think he said Jack the Ripper was like a level of consciousness 6. And there are two uh, basically sides of the scale. From 200 and up, you get that which is life supportive, integrous, productive, so on and so forth. And that which has power to it, manifestation power. And then below 200 you have the force, the non-integrity, where we're lost, negativity, and so on and so forth, right? And between 200 and 500 you have courage, you have willingness, you have acceptance, and you have forgiveness, and then you move on to love. And I don't know about you, but I have struggled in my life to feel a love authentically. And that's not easy for me to talk about, because it was something that I held against myself. I'm not loving enough, my heart is not open enough. And the one area where I can without a mistake feel so much love, always could, was my daughter Lexi, where I literally my heart just melts. And since she was born, it was just so beautiful. But for other people, it got mixed in wanting something from them, or some level of neediness, which is nothing to do with love at all. Attachment is not love, right? Love is just a different emotion. And I decided to work on my heart chakra so that I could really figure out what is holding me from holding loving space for people, truly authentically loving space. So I attended a retreat this last week. No idea what it was called, to be honest. One Spirit, I think it was the name. Um, and it was a combination of workshops and a rapé ceremony, and a sacred mushroom ceremony, which was the first time that I was doing mushrooms since I was 20, when I did it recreationally, which is a completely different story. And then San Pedro, that's a plant called Wachuma, which is also known as San Pedro in the Western world, and just really, really beautiful. And I will share with you what I learned, because that is what I'm bringing to my clients and possibly into the retreat that I'm holding next week. There is no magic bullet to feeling a love for people. It is not giving a massage to your heart chakra. It is not knowing something. It is through forgiveness. And it is through forgiveness of all. The people who hurt us, the people who caused us trauma, being able to come to complete forgiveness for them, even the little things like the Comcast who just didn't care about you being on a wait for a call, or whatever it is, like holding no toxicity, no resentment, nothing against anybody is what leads to opening of the heart. Now, why is this important? Because most of you guys are entrepreneurs. Why should you care? It's the energy of love, which really does transform your clients, right? And as I'm moving more into mindset coaching, it becomes more and more important to be able to hold the loving space, much more so than in a business space. Although I don't know that that's necessary true. I'll take it back. I don't know. But the frequency, if you truly want other people to transform, holding a completely non-judgmental space, holding a space of love really facilitates the transformation in somebody, right? So doing our own forgiveness work as the leaders in our business then becomes very, very important, right? Because the frequency then which we're bringing into business becomes an entirely different thing. Now, here's the bad news to this that I found out last week in a not so pleasant way, is that to be able to forgive, so many times we just don't even care anymore because we got hurt so much and we couldn't even bear the pain. So we disassociated. We didn't feel it. We didn't process the hurt. Instead of processing it, we shut our hearts down. Okay. And many of us got our hearts broken early in life by our parents. Maybe we were 2 or 4 or 10 or 13. We got our hearts broken, right? And in order to forgive those who've hurt us, we have to process the pain. Maybe, this was my experience. I'm not going to put this on anybody else. Actually, I don't know what your process will be like, but my process was having to actually feel the pain that I didn't want to feel and feel the heartbreak and the grief and the sadness and having to grieve the loss of a love of a parent, right? So forgiveness becomes a very, very important thing. Self-forgiveness, also incredibly important thing, right? Because the more we hold against ourselves, the less compassion we can feel for other people, because everything that we're holding against ourselves, consciously or subconscious, is going to get projected out onto other people. So I'm not sure quite yet how this is going to come together for next week, but my intention is to, if time allows and the space allows, and we'll see how the energy and the frequency of the group is, to bring some form of guided release of the things that we hold against ourselves. So those of you who are coming to the retreat, I'm very, very excited to be doing this work with you next week. Anyway, wanted to share that because there's a lot of the freedom work that we do, detaching from the shoulds of the collective, our own shoulds, blah, 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 a lot of the truth telling we did, and we do the emotional release. But forgiveness is just as important to really work with our heart. So I hope you have an amazing Monday. If you're listening to this on Monday, amazing start of your year. Thank you for letting me share. And I'm going to go ahead and record another episode right after this because a lot of people ask about the different plant medicines. So I'm just going to give like a little bit of a comprehensive review so that you, for those of you who are interested in this, have a little bit more understanding. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you guys next week on the retreat, January 10th, 8 p.m. Mountain. Registration link is below if you're not registered yet. Can't wait to see you.